You can see it hurting.
Hey there, welcome to Stress and Anxiety. I feel like I know me personally, I might have a PhD in experiential stress and anxiety. So we're glad that you're here and how you came across the video. We hope this really helps you and gives you some tips and tools to tackle these ideas. Is stress killing you? Yeah, it's like it could physically, emotionally, research and doctors will say it can wear on you and it lead to really some catastrophic things, death, heart attacks, suicidal thoughts. And so it's an important issue that we want to address together.
So causes of stress, everyone is different. And, some of us will have the same stresses and anxieties that come from a few sources. And honestly, I think most of us will agree that during this pandemic and COVID time, there has been a lot more just feelings of stress and overwhelm, right? And unsettling things.
Yeah, it's caused, and that's actually forced a lot of the other stresses. I still remember being on spring break with our kids and waking up every morning as we were in Mexico going, oh my goodness, what's going on? And it was just this anxiety, and the news sucked you in and maybe it repulsed you. But COVID can be a cause of stress, as we know, and I'm sure we'll experience going on in the months to come.
Right. And I think because of that, finances, a lot of people lost jobs and jobs changed and people were laid off, furloughed, you name it.
Yeah, we've changed jobs a few times. We've lived internationally, came home, and it also had to do with some relational problems. We had marriage stress, and that just and affects maybe your partner, your kids, your family, and there's these loops that we get stuck into, and things that cause stress. Could be a tragic situation. We just had a friend from church who passed away about our age yesterday.
Yeah.
And that causes ripples. Our son was close to this man. There's a stress, there's an anxiety level that rises. And then emotional issues.
I think too, just emotional eating is a huge thing. There's a lot of things that hinder, a lot of limiting beliefs and mindset that really plays into a negative thought and negative beliefs that results into
Emotional issues, there could be something in our past, a wound, something that happened to us, maybe an abuse or a relational abuse at work or a professional abuse. And so there's emotional things that cause stress, and then it looks like, and it masticizes itself. Well,
and I look at this and it stresses me out. There's stress. But this is something really, stress kind of like snowballs into more stress.
Yeah, and then it looks like, and for me, it looks like headaches and neck pain. I find myself clenching my jaw. I find myself waking up and I have a headache, and I'm like, I didn't eat or drink anything bad last night. Chronic fatigue, sleeplessness, there's this loop. I'm stressed, therefore I didn't sleep well. I didn't sleep well, therefore it causes stress. And then it causes this fatigue. Or for some others, on the other side, it's just the stress of life. I don't even want to get out of bed. And it immobilizes you.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's when the depression comes too. And then the next one, change in sex drive, which I don't think for maybe some men it really changes, I think.
No, but it can. The physical stress can affect our performance. It can affect physically, maybe a stress-induced anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And then high blood pressure and anxiety are kind of mixed. Sometimes you don't sense it, but we have a blood pressure machine here in our office. And about once a month, I'll test my blood because the family of high blood pressure, I want to know how am I handling also all the changes, but also how's my nutrition. And then moodiness, sadness, lack of motivation. I felt like in 2007, it was a rough year for us. We had marriage disaster. Mm-hmm. We moved home from Mexico City to get healthy.
Right. I was pregnant. My mom died of cancer, and I had a baby.
We
changed jobs.
Yeah, I lost my job, and we moved to a new neighborhood. And I just felt like there was about 3 or 4 months that I went into depression and moodiness.
And I want to say too, and the moodiness, sadness, lack of motivation, this is also something that I think now, looking at teens, I mean, we have, a 22 and 19, a 15 and a 13. So it's even recognizing this in teens and young adults as well.
Yeah, and I can testify. My stresses look like anger and irritability. So in the past couple of years, I've had a business that's failed. I've started new ones 6 years ago that are growing. But I can take those stresses home, and it looks like
chaos. I don't know.
Wow, that came from me.
No, it
That's
doesn't
true.
look like
But
chaos.
I can be irritable. The kids could do something that's
I would say
completely.
fits of rage. Fits of rage.
Wow.
I used to have fits of rage.
And so it can surface in that for some of us. Overeating, drinking, drugs. I found myself during stressful periods, I was having a drink every night. I was having a glass of whiskey or two almost every night. My body wasn't craving it, but my stress, it was what I went to. And then when I stopped drinking 2 years ago, I then went to sugar. And some of us go overeating and some of us go undereating.
Well, and I even think too, at the eating part of it is sometimes we will use food as that comfort, as that soothing balm, as that calming effect. And maybe we're eating to, out of boredom, out of stress, and we need to feel better.
For some of us, stress results in a weight loss or a weight gain, depending on how we react to it.
Now, the odds are that you were stressed, or even more likely, those who love you know you are stressed out.
Yeah, just ask your kids, ask your coworkers, ask a good friend.
Yeah.
Hey, am I stressed? Mm-hmm. They know if you are.
Do they see the symptoms of that? And even like this balloon, some of us might be on the verge of just everything is falling apart.
So do you guys identify with any of the symptoms? We want you to do a personal check, write on a journal. Think about where are you right now when it comes to stress and anxiety. Do any of those causes or those symptoms express in your life?
And honestly, if you're watching this on recording, this is a great time to pause and really give yourself that 5 minutes to 10 minutes and really think through some of these things we just mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay, now sleep and stress. I think, Steve, you have a lot to say about this.
Yeah, I've been in the
sleep industry.
I've been geeking out in the sleep industry for about 12, 13 years. I owned 3 to 4 mattress stores for 12 of those. I started a sleep company. We manufacture sleep products, pillows to sheets to different things that help us sleep better. And so I've done a lot. And so my company, Infinite Moon, wrote a recent article on sleep and stress. And there's a couple tips here. Practice. How do you limit? Because it's a cycle. I said it before. I can't sleep, therefore I'm stressed. I'm stressed, I can't sleep. So there's a couple tips that can maybe stop that cycle. And the first one?
Well, and I say relaxation techniques. And so there are some ways that we can, you see there's this acupuncture mat that you can lay on and just, it's designed for you to release some stress. But also it's, in yoga, it's those poses that you get into child's pose. And that you just, I remember the yoga teacher when I did Core Power like years ago, it's like relax your fingers, relax your wrists, relax your hands, relax your face, your mouth, just relax. And so it's getting in some of these positions and poses, or simply one position, and you're just really relaxing in it.
And working through breathing techniques.
Yeah, breathing is huge.
The second one's a gratitude journal. I started this with a counselor therapist that said, I want you to start this. And I did it about 7 or 8 years ago. Every night I write 3 things that I'm grateful for that day. And what it's doing is it's framing how I'm going into sleep. I do believe a lot of times our last thoughts affect our dreams and how we sleep and how we wake up. And life coaches, business coaches will all say, write the things that you're grateful for at the end of the day. And it does force us. So what did I experience? A conversation, a view, something that made me laugh. I write those every night.
And I think it's so healthy because it truly lets your mind just reflect on the positive, the good.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of things that we can look at, and we just turn on social media and TV and we can see a lot of negative. So we have to kind of frame that story and go, I'm going to choose to focus on something that's helpful.
For some of us, we might need acupuncture or chiropractor care or a massage. Kelsey, one of our business leaders, is a masseuse here in Denver, one of the best. So if you need a great masseuse to relieve some of that stress that's caused tension, or a chiropractor adjustment that might align things, or acupuncture, this mat that Christine on here is on a yoga pose. This is a new product my other company launched, and it's called Ever Relief. It's an all-natural acupuncture mat and pillow that you would lay on for about, I would say, 10 to 15, 20 minutes, shirtless, and it just relieves pressure and tension in your neck. And so I do this often. During the day, if I have a headache or I feel tense, I will, I'll lay on it. The fourth I want Christine to speak to is exercise and nutrition and how that affects our sleep and stress.
Yeah, so exercise, if it's that natural endorphins. I know many times when, you might be in a rhythm and go, I just don't want to. I don't feel like it. I'm too tired. I'm too stressed. I don't want to get up. But the moment that you put your shoes on, the moment that you just get into that workout and that exercise, the endorphins kick in. You feel great. And that is so healthy for your body to move every day, whether you have a job that you're moving, you're in and out, or not. But that's so important for your body because stress, cortisol, that stress hormone, if we do not exercise, if we do not eat properly, it just kind of, that big tire around our midsection is stress. It's the cortisol that is elevated high in our body. And
the fifth one.
Well, I would say just even nutrition. There's certain foods that when we're stress tends to crave those high carbs, those refined sugars, salty sugar, fried. And obviously that's not great on our physique and on our nutrition, but it's certain things that we just need to be mindful of that. It goes in tandem.
Yeah. I want you, sleep experts will say, go do a bedroom inventory. What is your room like? Is there too much technology? Do you have access to smartphones and things that we have blue blockers that block out the UV, the blue color that keeps you and fires your mind up. Your sheets, are they cool? Are they breathable? Is your mattress and your bedding, is the color coding? Are you doing work in your room? Stop doing work in your room. Make this a sleep environment and not a work environment. Try to break the patterns of having work and stress all go where you need to sleep.
Awesome. Yeah, very important. Okay, so stress spills into our personal lives in many ways, affecting the quality of our close relationship. And so something that we try to do, we're not perfect, but do not let the sun go down on unresolved conflict. Great verse that I learned early on, do not let the sun go down on your anger. And it just is so true that, resolving that. So even as Steve mentioned, the gratitude journal, I think if you don't have that person that you can talk to before you go to bed, it is even, I think, a healthy habit to have a journal, and that you are writing out that stress and that conflict and that unresolved, so that when you go to bed, it's like you put it somewhere, you've diffused it, and that's so important.
It's not just a marriage relationship. It could be a kid. And sometimes I'll go downstairs, hey, I'm sorry the way I reacted to you before I start. Because I want to frame those relationships and the stress going into sleep, as well as business relationships. Maybe you need to write a letter or a quick email saying, I'm sorry how this went. But really framing the next experience. And so relationships are stress. They're part of it. We've done a lot of stressful relationship building.
We've spent a lot of money on good counselors and therapists.
Yes, and so that's the first tip.
Important.
You need to go find something that's going to help. One, a professional that's going to help you in relationships with your kids, with your even sometimes coworkers. I've been to counseling sessions with coworkers and colleagues to work through issues and mediation. But really the second one is so important. And it's really the last 7 years it's changed us in our marriages. We started to work on ourselves and working on me and not working on her, not even working on this.
Right.
But it changed me and it changed you. We had different counselors, therapists, and coaches. And what happened is we grew up, we stood on our own 2 feet, and I looked over, I'm like, that is the most attractive, independent, solid sense of self woman that I know. And it drew us together because I was also growing and working on me. It wasn't my job to work on her, and it wasn't her job to work on me.
Right. Very helpful. Now, leave it at the door. That's a really good one. Right now in COVID, many of us are working from home. So it might be leave it at your office, or you're in that workspace on your on your dining room table, and you just need to close it down, turn off the computer, and leave it, and be able to engage with the family or engage with whomever else that you're around, so that you can truly leave the problems and stress and work somewhere else.
Yeah, so it doesn't affect our relationships, wherever that is. You might need to, when you leave the office, if you're going to an office, come home and sit in the car and just meditate and physically and mentally say and verbally say it, I'm leaving this stuff back. So when I walk into my home, my kids, my spouse, my roommates get the best me. In COVID world, when we walk out this door, we need to shut it and say, okay, we're engaging with our kids.
Right. Work is done.
Love number 4.
Okay. What's the rope attached to? This is really, really helpful because you can come in and you can just be angry, frustrated. You're projecting on someone else. And it's about something stupid like,
well, I'm arguing with her about
right.
the trash out. But
Why
the
aren't you putting the
reality
trash out?
is, there's probably, I pull the rope and going, it's not about the trash. It's about, it's about my mom said something to me that tracks a 30-year-old wound, and I'm now taking it out on her. Or I pull the rope back and go, it's something that she said 2 weeks ago, but it was unresolved. So find out what the rope of that stress in that relationship's attached to. It's probably not what you're fighting about now. And to be honest, oftentimes I'll sit with friends and go, you know what, if you tell me about your sex life, I'll tell you about your relationship and your marriage. Because sex is the beginning of the rope. How and you and a partner have sex, what's it like, how often, you pull that rope, and it's usually attached to something else. And for us, it was attached to an emotional issue of me or insecurity or not feeling loved. And so use that rope to pull and try to find out what is the core root of your relationship stress.
Find the roots.
October 6th, we want to invite you, if you're married or getting close to getting married, come to our marriage course. We're going to launch our first marriage course on October 6th via Zoom. It's going to be safe. So there'll be times where you jump out of the Zoom and it's just you and your wife talking. You're not going to be part of another group. We're going to do one this fall as well. We're going to do another one in late February, March. And so consider joining our course, and you can ask us for more details. I want to introduce Mark. Mark's a good friend, a colleague of ours. He's committed to health and wellness and personal development. But Mark, I want you to speak to finances and stress. That's not a picture of Mark. That's actually Dave Ramsey.
No, thanks, Dave. No, I think when you start talking about finances, all of a sudden everybody's stress level goes up about 10 ticks. It just kind of happens. And so when I think about finances, I really think about a plan. What is that plan that I can control, that I can be, not so much control, but just be responsible for. And so there's a few kind of start that process. One is just kind of take an inventory. Where are you at financially? It doesn't matter how much money you do have or how much money you don't have. Finances can cause stress on all spectrums, no matter, if you think you have a lot or if you think you have a little bit. Once you're done taking that inventory, one of the best things I've done is to make a budget and stick to it. And I want to be a little bit careful here because sometimes the tendency is to become a slave to that budget. But one of the best things I've done is make a budget, stick to it. But in one of my budget categories, have a slush fund. Maybe that's $50, maybe that's $100. And that lets you, go out and play if you want to play. If something unexpected comes up, you have a little bit of money. If you just don't balance on an account at the end of the month, you just throw a little bit of that slush funds into that account just to balance it. And that way you don't have to spend a whole lot of time stressing about every single penny in your budget. But you have a plan. Number 3 is, pay off all debt. This is a hard one for us just because it's so easy with all the offers, all the ads, all the things that are going on out there to take on debt. But really, if you can pay off your debt, probably for most of us, with the exception of our house, it just frees you up to make more choices. Do I want to go on that vacation? Do I want to? You can choose where you spend your money instead of having it go to designated spots that you can't control. Dave Ramsey has 7 baby steps. And, a lot of people, they just don't know what that next step is. So no matter where you're at, if you start with a step number 1, or if you jump in at step number, 3 or 4, it's just a good resource that you can have that you can go back to and say, okay, I've achieved this one baby step, what's the next step? And really, when you think about finances, it's not about, where you want to be in 10 years. It's, what's the next month look like? What's that next step you can take so that you don't stress yourself out about having to be somewhere where you're not today. But at the same time, you're taking those small steps to get there each and every month. And like the last one, like Steve and Christine have been talking about, is, practice gratitude. I think if you go into your finances with a plan, it's a whole lot easier to be thankful for what you do have, as well as even being able to show gratitude towards others, whether that's an opportunity to give to somebody who is in need, give to your local charity. I find that if I have a budget, then, I oftentimes have money to do other things, whether it's on myself, that helps me practice gratitude, or to give away to others, which is the more satisfying way of practicing gratitude for me within the area of finances.
And I so appreciate Mark and watching him. We used to do nonprofit work together, and then Mark went off and started a business. And just like myself, we've got scars when it comes to financial stress. And so the people that I want to follow are those who are not born with a golden spoon, but those who have the scars, that have learned to manage and to fight through it, to pay off debt, and to take the next steps to really financial freedom, to eliminate some of that stress. So Mark, thanks for sharing, and thanks for who you are.
Nope, thanks.
Body and stress.
Okay, kind of what we mentioned earlier, but really the stress comes to that we wear it. We wear it in our faces. We wear it as we age. We wear it in our wrinkles. We wear it in our inside, in our gut. So when you think about stress, I mean, it takes, the eating that we do, the cortisol levels that shoot up. I mean, it takes a toll on our energy. It takes a toll on our gut, but also takes a toll on our liver. And there's a lot of toxicity that ends up being accumulated in our body. And down the road, it just wreaks havoc on our bodies. And a lot of disease and things like that come from just the poor food choices, most likely because of the stress in our lives. And we just haven't filled in the gaps. We don't have the nutrition. We're not fueling our bodies. And I think earlier when we talked about the eating, the emotional eating plays into that. Just sometimes we just don't know how to do this properly. We don't know how to use food as fuel to really, help our bodies really build that immunity. And, during the COVID time, I think a lot of us were really stressed about getting sick. And two of the best ways to avoid that was really exercising, getting that nice endorphins, as well as fueling our bodies well and filling in the gaps.
So a quick side note, on a previous section, we talked about sleep and stress. Christine, should you exercise at night?
So if you're going to I would say stop exercising within like 2.5 hours before you're going to hit the bed, hit the pillow, and go to sleep, because your body's just revving, right? Mm-hmm. And I think everyone is a little bit different. I remember I'm an AM worker outer. I don't like to work out late. I just have my natural rhythms, but some people have to work out after work and after maybe feeding the kids or after certain times. So it's just the rhythms that you can get into, but definitely it's hard to work out and then 30 minutes later go to bed, because your body's still moving. Your metabolism is still going and firing.
And proper nutrition is a big one as well. When to eat and what kind of foods to eat. You start learning and going, gosh, because I eat this, sugar feeds sugar and it wants more sugar, which causes more stress and causes more anxiety, which causes my body to grow or get unhealthy and imbalanced.
Right.
And so one thing that we do often, we've taken about 140 people through a Prove It challenge, a 30-day Prove It challenge, to do a healthy cleanse and then to restart their body, because we know the stress that what we've put in, maybe it's fast food or it's garbage or it's our environment. We got to clean that out and start over so our body can function as it was created, to eliminate some of the stress that we put on it.
And I would say too that sometimes we have gotten in the habit of emotional eating, and I'll talk about this in a second. And we don't know the signs of, am I really physically hungry, or is it just I'm emotionally triggered to want to eat? And honestly, this cleanse to me is a great reset, because it truly is going to help your body understand, oh, I'm really hungry physically and I'm using food for fuel and I'm not eating emotionally.
Now, you could get all the right things, but again, from the crops and what we're putting in, we might be missing some things that really help eliminate stress, help us sleep, to create healthy cycles. And one of those is B Complex. B Complex, these are Shaklee products, a company that we've been partnered with, that we feel 100% behind. We like the testing, we like the history, we like the cleanliness, and they work. But B Complex, often a joke in our house is when a teenager is cranky, we'll go, take your bees.
Go take your bees.
It's the happy pills. And they do something to you, and bees are.
Well, bees are, I mean, they're water soluble, B's and C's. So when you stress, your bodies get depleted. That's one of the first nutrients that will get depleted in your body. And when you're depleted of B's, you tend to have carb cravings. And you tend to your body wants to go for the salty, the sugar, the sweet, or the fried. And you're cranky, you're moody.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like those hormonal imbalances because you're low on B's. And B's truly are what helps convert food into energy. So when you have a good amount of B's, you are energized.
All of our Prove It Challenge clients take bees as their new process.
I love it.
I take all of these. The second one is a stress relief. It's
Right.
just calming. It helps me sleep. I take it at night, or if I know something a full day,
Right.
I'll take one in the morning.
Well, and this will actually blunt cortisol. So it'll blunt the effects of cortisol in your body. Remember, cortisol, it elevates. Too much cortisol will elevate those levels and you just can't come down. So you get that tie around your belly, and it's just that stress hormone that just can wreak havoc over time on your body.
I take Core Energy every morning to really help balance my adrenals.
Mm-hmm.
And so that I have the right energy. I'm not peaking, I'm not crashing.
Right.
And then
Good
CalMag's,
stabilizer.
yeah, CalMag's at our bedside because it helps.
Right. And so it really relaxes your body, that magnesium. And a lot of us are magnesium deficient anyway. And so it's just a calming, but also relaxing of those muscles. And CalMag, it's a great combo for better absorption.
So really, Christine's and our company, Body, Home, and Health, this is an area that she's really dialed in and helping people eliminate the stress when it's attached to our body. It's cleaning up exercise, it's cleaning up nutrition, it's filling in the gaps. So send us a note if you have any questions, or whoever invited you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, personally, you see this gal here, she's sitting in the tub, eating by herself. It's probably an emotional day. And I have been like this in the past often. Is the stress of work and finances and companies has caused me to be an emotional eater. And I went to the alcohol, and then I went to desserts, and that period from like 7 to 9 o'clock at night was my crucial time. But I found myself emotionally eating because of the stress of the day.
Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes this is that question that we need to ask. Am I eating because I'm physically hungry? Or am I eating because I'm bored? Or I'm eating because out of habit, I'm watching a movie, therefore I need to make a big thing of popcorn, I need to have my soda, and I need to sit or have my bowl of ice cream.
Or I'm lonely.
Or I'm lonely.
Yeah.
I'm just, that emotion, food becomes that friend to me to really soothe. So emotional eating is real, and it's another cycle Steve talked about that we want to get out of the habit of. And it's learning to love our bodies. It's learning to love ourselves really well. And it's learning to really, that rope that's attached to finding out, and it might just be doing a food diary and food and mood diary.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm stressed and I know that I want to open up the freezer and go for a whole pint of ice cream, I have to stop and think and say, okay, take 5. What is going on right now in my heart, my mind, my thoughts that is wanting me to gravitate towards that pint of ice cream? Mm-hmm. So it's learning to separate whatever circumstance is happening in our lives that we can't change.
A boy breaking up with you, and Christine, your old history
Right,
of emotional eating was the opposite of emotional eating.
Like I avoided food to kind of like almost not punish myself. Maybe it probably was punishing myself.
It's a hidden punishment, but it was really a control tactic.
Yeah.
I didn't feel well.
But I was attaching all my self-worth to, I just got dumped. And so I just tailspinned in the spiral of just unworthiness. I just didn't feel.
And out came anorexia in your young 20s.
Yeah. So I struggled with that.
And now she has a really healthy balance with food. It's not a fear. It's not an enemy. So one of the tips, and this is a deeper issue, and so if you need to dig in deeper with us or with a counselor, we'd love to help you, because we both have experienced it on different spectrums. But separate the circumstance, a breakup, finances, from your self-worth. Okay, my business is failing. I'm a failure. I'm struggling. I can't provide for my family. And it moves into then I need to soothe that with alcohol or a pizza or a burger from Fast Times, or soon to be in Colorado, In-N-Out.
Right.
Separate your circumstances from your self-worth. A really good tip, and she's really good at this, and I just did it this weekend, is clean out your pantry and fridge. I realized I had some liqueurs and mixers and all the little extra things you add up, they're all alcohol. I'm like, you know what? I gave it all away. I go, I'm not going back to this area, and I don't ever want to have that struggle. It's been 2 years, but clean out your pantry. If there's a snack that somehow shows up, it doesn't just come from the grocery store.
Right. You bought it, so
You
don't
bought
buy it.
So don't buy it, but if it's there, start fresh. And we can help you with some of these
Right.
things.
And I think it's creating positive hobbies and actions. So it's just maybe when you're eating, it's like, okay, I'm done. I put my food away. I shut the light off. I'm going to go in the other room and I'm done. I'm not going to come back to eating, back for ice cream and extra stuff later out of boredom. But I'm going to start picking up guitar. I'm going to start listening to something. I'm going to do something different in my downtime. So,
and COVID's created a new work environment. Maybe you used to work downtown and you go walk to lunch and you go walk to get a healthy lunch, but now you're stuck at home. Maybe now you need to take that break and get outside,
right,
and get some vitamin D, go for a run. But ultimately you need accountability and support, because these are emotional eating is an addiction, and it's an evil one that kind of spirals in a lot of us. And I know personally I can speak to that.
So are you telling yourself a red light story every day? And we mentioned that without saying that on just the emotional eating one, but negative beliefs will create negative results 100% of the time. Negative belief will create a negative result.
And this is a big cause of stress in our life, but getting stuck in some of these cycles, because we start a red light story, and it does. Our mindset matters. And so your circumstances don't change. So let's say I'm in sales, and we'll go through this. We're going to talk about a red light story versus a green light story. We're in sales, and I had a bad quarter. My boss comes to me and says, you had a bad quarter. I can't fix the past quarter. So my red light story is I had a bad quarter.
Right. And so then the red light story is that the limiting belief. So what's the negative
I'm not good at
feelings
this.
that you're coming?
I'm not good at sales.
This is your thought. Yeah. I'm thinking I'm not good at sales.
I'm not good at sales. And so it throws me into a feeling.
So because of that, what do you feel?
Like a failure. Like my wife's going to hate me. My coworkers are staring at me. I feel like a loser. I feel unworthy. I feel incompetent. I feel like I'm never going to get ahead. And so my thoughts are, I'm never going to get ahead. I'm never going to be able to provide for my wife. My wife doesn't like me, and my kids will disrespect me. I can't provide my kids that vacation.
So then the actions that come from that are what?
That day at work, I don't want to make any sales calls. I'm afraid of the no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid that I'm going to fail again.
Okay. And the results?
I suck. My business is failing.
Right.
And I might get fired.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, a green light story. Circumstances don't change. My last quarter of sales stunk. A green light story is that was then, but there are so many new opportunities with this COVID disaster that I hadn't even thought of.
Mm-hmm.
And so my belief is there are new opportunities that didn't exist 6 months ago because it was just normal. And guess what? I'm going to go find them.
Right. I have what it takes. I am enough. My thoughts are, I can do this.
It's a green light story. I'm churning. It's going.
So what are your actions then?
My feelings, for one, I miss my feelings in that I'm excited. I feel worthy. Mm-hmm. I feel happy. I feel joyful. I feel hopeful. And so my actions are today, I'm going to make a ton of phone calls.
Yeah. You feel confident. You feel empowered.
And when that person says no, the no's bounce off my chest, and I'm going to go after the next one because I'm creating a green light story.
And the results are what?
Awesome. I grew my business. I took my wife on vacation. I took her out to eat. We celebrated. There was a sense of I'm doing this, and my boss goes, well done.
Yeah. Okay.
See how the circumstance didn't change, but the mindset did. And this is something that our coaches have helped us with. So what areas of stress will you begin to tackle? We're not asking you to tackle all 5 areas: finances, body, emotional eating, sleep, and relationships. But if you're watching this on video, pause, write it down, take a personal stress inventory, evaluate each of these, and where are the stressors in your life? What's causing them? What are the symptoms that you're seeing in your life? And where can you break some loops and cycles of stress?
Right. And there's definitely areas that we would love to help you in, that we are here and we feel like we are so equipped to help you. And I believe there are other areas that we would happily recommend some great professionals and consult some other people that we know would really help you as well.
I've done mindset things with our coaches and your business coaches. I've done tapping to help deal with stress and failures. I've done EMDR, I've done light therapy. So there's all these things that can help kind of break some of these cycles that we're in. This is our email, info@vandeesproveitchallenge.com. So if you have questions or you want some follow-up or you want to press in a little deeper, we want to offer that to you. Or the person that invited you to this video link. Press into them and ask them, hey, I need help. I want to see some of these things change in my nutrition, in my relationships. Help me.
Right. Because I think, like we said, one thing leads to the other. It's almost like a snowball. And we want to encounter just thriving in our wellness and our health and our mindset and our relationships and enjoy every single day.
Yeah. Thanks for letting us share. And we look forward to a less stressful day for you.